Hi guys, my name is Michael from Michael Pell Films and I'm here today to talk about live streaming. When the pandemic hit, my work as a filmmaker completely dried up. People weren't interested in creative marketing films anymore, as there was suddenly a more pressing issue: how to keep people connected. Enter live streaming. Live streaming is a great way to connect an audience in a way where people still feel like they're connecting with others, even if not in person. Which is why I saw an opportunity and completely changed my business through to live streaming for the bulk of 2020. Whilst things are starting to return to normal and I'm starting to produce more films, I do not think that this is a business that will stop, which is why I've decided to make a video on my 7 top tips that I've learned over the past year of live streaming. Number 1, start small. Live streaming has become huge now, and it's not just filmmakers who have entered the market. In events, which is where I do most of my work, DJs, lighting companies, bands, and all different types of vendors have invested in live streaming. It can be quite overwhelming seeing all the gear and equipment that some live streamers use, but you do not need to start with this, and more to the point, you shouldn't. You can start on a lower budget while still providing high quality streams. The main things you need to get started are a camera, a computer or a laptop, a video capture card, and good internet. Once you have these, the world is your oyster. Feel free to check out the links below to see the equipment that I use, and if the demand is there, then I'll do a budget setup video. Number 2, lighting, sound, and fast lenses. Now, we've spoken about what you need to get up and running. Let's talk about 3 things that you can use to set yourself apart while still not breaking the bank. These are all things that you may already have in your arsenal if you're a filmmaker. Lighting, sound, and a fast lens, so an f-stop of 2.8 or below, are all things that will make your live stream look like a production, rather than just someone sitting on a webcam. Even on stream quality, where you may not have the tools to be streaming in 4K, it will make such a huge difference. For lighting, you can use some cheap LEDs, and for sound, you can get a shotgun mic and plug it into your camera, and for lenses, I'd recommend using a lens with an f-stop of 2.8 or below, and trying to create some distance between the subject, the camera, and the background to create that cinematic look. Number 3, dummy batteries. On to something that I learned the hard way. Live streaming is stressful. You really need to have your focus on 100% of the time, and you want to have as little variables as possible to worry about. One of those variables is battery life. This is just something that you do not want to be stressing about. When you're in filmmaking and you're low in battery, most of the time, no problem. Just switch out the batteries and keep on filming. If you try and do that whilst live streaming, just don't. Research your camera and get the right dummy battery so that you can plug straight into the mains and not worry about it at all. Number 4, have extension leads. There will be a lot of cables flying around. Dummy batteries, HDMI cables, capture cards, internet cables, computer chargers. The last thing you need is having to say, sorry, the plug is too far away. Invest in extension cables. Get a 50-meter one just in case. Trust me, you will not regret it at all. Number 5, learn how to use different platforms. When I first started, I was streaming family events and weddings onto YouTube and YouTube only. I felt like I understood how to best use this platform and I felt comfortable. In reality, I was putting people off by not being able to offer other platforms such as Zoom, where people want that interactive feature. Eventually, I was forced to research how to use Zoom to my advantage, and demand started to improve as a result. So the moral of the story, expand your knowledge, learn different platforms, and be flexible. Clients will like that. Number 6, get a fast computer. You need to be careful which computer you use for live streaming. It's a high demanding process that will use up a lot of CPU space, and you need to ensure that you have the tools to cope with that demand. I use a gaming laptop that has an Intel i7 processor and 16 gigabytes of RAM. And to be on the safe side, I probably wouldn't go any lower than this. There are also Ryzen processors, which are supposed to be better value for money, but if you're looking to buy a computer or a laptop, speak to stores about your needs, check the specs, and test before you actually do a professional live stream. This brings me on to my final point, which is to be a swan. Swans are graceful and majestic above the water, but below the water, they're kicking and splashing all over the place. This is something that my first boss in film told me, and it's always stuck with me. Like all jobs, this may be stressful, and you may have a million things to check and worry about. This is just simply part of the game. But you cannot appear stressed and all over the place to clients. You must remain calm and put them at ease, or they will not hire you back, trust me. To make sure that you are able to remain calm, rehearse, test, plan, pack all your equipment with plenty of time to spare, and arrive to set up with plenty of time to spare. That way you can remain as stress-free as possible and just enjoy the live streaming process. So there you have it. There are my 7 tips that I learned over the last year. Again, they're not necessarily set up from scratch videos, but like you, I watched a huge number of YouTube videos on live streaming before I got started. And these points were all things that I sort of had to learn the hard way. Whilst my normal filmmaking job is returning back to normal and I'm doing less live streaming these days, as I said in the start of the video, I do not believe that live streaming is something that's going to go away anytime soon. I think it's great to have even as an option for weddings, for people overseas who can't make it, for businesses holding events. This really is an industry that has boomed as a result of COVID, and there is money to be made if you can do it right and if you can do it well. If you enjoyed this video and you got some value, please do hit that like button and subscribe for more, and I will see you on the next video.